What is up, guys? Today I'm going to be breaking down UFC Fight Night, Whittaker versus Aliskerov. Hamzat has pulled out. There's been a lot of canceled bouts on this fight and this card. There's only 11 fights now because, unfortunately, Cedric Dumas says his fight with Denis Tiuliulin, scheduled for UFC Saudi Arabia this weekend, has been postponed. So we are not having that fight. And you know what's funny? Denis Tiuliulin just has the worst luck ever, bro. If we look at this, Mohamed Naimov versus Melzik is canceled, right? It's canceled. Abu Azaitar. Where's Denis Tiuliulin was matched up against Abu Azaitar, and he pulled out. And now his opponent Cedric Dumas pulled out again. Pulled out as well. So we had a lot of canceled bouts. Said Nurmagomedov, Montel Jackson canceled. Shara Magomedov, Ihor Porteria, he's out of that, but Shara is still on the card. Robert Whittaker is still on the card. Mohamed Naimov is still on the card. And Said Nurmagomedov, Abu Azaitar, and Farid Barashat are not on this card no more. So we only have 11 fights. So we will be breaking down this entire card, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main event. So without further ado, we got Long Xiao versus Chai Ho Lee. Two Chinese motherfuckers. It's going to be a great prelim fight just to start off the card. One guy with a record of 26-8-0 Long. That's his record. And Chang Ho with a record of 9-1-0. His one loss is to Sim Kai Zhang by unanimous decision 2 years and 1 month ago. And this guy's most recent loss is to Christian Quiones on Dana White's Contender Series, who has a 16-3 record at the time, 2 years and 7 months ago. But prior to that, after that, he has had a 4-fight win streak. Both of these guys are coming off of insane wins, finishes for all of Chang Ho Lee's 3-fight win streak. And this guy's a little bit more of a decision machine. Guys, minus 120 odds, plus 100 for South Korea. China versus South Korea, 26 years old to 30, 135, 135, 5'8 to 5'8, 70 inches to 69. I'm not going to lie, bro. If you were to ask me who looks older, and I don't, this has nothing to do with the fight. Bro, for some reason, Long looks mad old, bro. He looks so much older than Chang Ho. I didn't even know Chang Ho was 30. But I'm going to be going with Long Xiao just because I think that he's going to be better. This is a pick'em fight, so one of my least confident picks, I'm going with Long Xiao just because I think he's more fundamentally sound. And if he goes 15 minutes and he doesn't get a finish, he can also win this fight. Sometimes with a guy who's very early in his career, I know he's 30 years old and he's had a lot of bouts, but with a record like his, 9-1-0, he needs a little bit more experience. He hasn't fought the dogs that 26-8-0 like Long Xiao has fought. And I think Long Xiao will win this by unanimous decision, 29-28, 30-27, 29-28. It's going to be a little crazy because we got to see what Tapology thinks. Tapology's on Lee by decision. Honestly, it's going to be a very close fight. And I don't know. I'm not going with the dog right now. I'm going to go with Long Xiao just because I think that his gym also is a very good gym. Extreme Combat is also good, but I'm going with Long Xiao just because I think he's fundamentally better. He's faced way more experience and way more tougher competition than Chang Ho Lee. But this is the early predictions, so Friday there will be last-minute predictions, and that is when I will have my most confident picks. Cedric Dumas' fight is off. Magomed Gadzhiyasulov versus Brendson Ribeiro. Brendson Ribeiro is a beast, the gorilla, with a record of 15-6-0. He's lost to Mingyang Zhang by KO, hammer fist, and then David Baghdasaryan by KO, punches. So when he loses, it's pretty bad. Magomed, on the other hand, has a record of 8-0. You know they put a bunch of these guys on the Saudi Arabia card because I guess Saudi Arabia needs to be spoiled. You know they got that Saudi money, so. Whenever there's a guy who's a minus 470, guys, this is the anchor to my parlay. I'm going Magomed, whatever the fuck his last name is, with a record of, he's won all of them. He's come from Dana White Contender Series. He's making his UFC debut, so they had to give him a tin can like Brendson Ribeiro. Brendson Ribeiro's pretty good record. Doesn't really speak that much about him, but he's a plus 360 underdog, 30 years old for the Baryan, and 27 years old for Brendson Ribeiro. His last weight was 205. These guys are pretty huge. 6'2", 6'3", 75-inch reach, 81. That's the only thing that you got to take into account, that Magomed has a little bit of a shorter reach, and it's by almost 6 inches. So you have to take that into account. But I'm going Magomed to win this by decision, unanimous, 29-28, 30-27, 29-28. It's going to be a very close fight, but I think that Right here, if Ribeiro's going to win, he's going to win by KO, guys. If he's going to win this fight, he's going to win by KO. But I'm going Magomed to win this by unanimous decision just because I know Brendson Ribeiro is a guy who's pretty difficult the first and second round. So I think it goes full 15 minutes. I know a lot of people have KO, but I'm going to be going the over 1.5 for this fight. Next fight. As we get up the card, guys, the picks get more and more confident because we all know the fighters more better. Muin, Gafurov versus Kang Kang. More Chinese guys, bro. There's a bunch of Chinese guys on this card, guys. 18-6-0 for this guy, Muin Gafurov, and his opponent has a record of 19-10-0. That record is trash. Talk about Mr. Perfect. That record is trash, bro. Plus 105 for the guy with the 19-10-0 record. Kang Kang, Mr. Perfect versus Chajik. Minus 125 for the slight favorite. I'm not going to lie, guys. Within the last 5, this guy has lost 3 out of his last 5 to Chad Ellinger, Dana White Contender Series. Then he went to LFA, and now he made his UFC debut, lost to John Castaneda, UFC debut, and then lost to Said Nurmagomedov. So he's faced very, very tough competition. His opponent, Hong Kong, has 2 losses out of his last 5, but he has not faced nearly the amount of competition that he has faced. His opponent, Peng Hu Lu, by decision, he's won 4 years ago. And then Ronnie Yaya, he lost by decision, and then he won unanimous decision, won against Christian Kiona submission, and then lost to John Castaneda. They both lost to Sexy Mexi. Sexy Mexi is a problem for this division. When we look at this fight, 28 years old to 36, bantamweight division 5'7" to 5'9", 68 years old to 73. Guys, give me Muin Gafurov to win this fight by unanimous decision. 29-28, and I think it's going to be split. 29-28 for Muin. 29-28 for Kang Kang. And then 29-28 for Muin Gafurov. Let's get it, guys. This is going to be early picks. So a lot of people aren't going to be that confident, but I'm pretty confident in Muin Gafurov. He's faced way tougher competition. He had a better performance against John Castaneda, in my opinion, than his opponent did. And his opponent's not that active. His opponent is very inactive between his fights, takes massive breaks. So I think Muin Gafurov can win that fight pretty easily. Let's go up the card. Rinat Fakhretdinov versus Nicolas Dalby, guys. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night thinking of how much money Nicolas Dalby has stole from people's bets, you know? This guy is a fraud killer with a record of 23-4-1. His last loss was to Tim Means by unanimous decision, which is kind of crazy to think about because when we talk about his next wins, all of them are better than Tim Means. Claudio Silva, Walray Alves, questionable. Muslim Salikov, and Gabriel Bonfim, by far one of the better fighters out of his whole record. I think Gabriel Bonfim is his best win on his resume. His opponent, Rinat, tends to gas a little bit. He went to a draw with Uselyis, who fought Randy Brown and lost by unanimous decision. And prior to that, he beat his opponent by KO. Then he won Andres Michalas by unanimous decision. Brian Battle he beat. And then Kevin Lee. He controlled Brian Battle for 15 minutes. He didn't gas there, but he did gas when he went to a draw with Zaleski. Kevin Lee, he beat him guillotine choke, and then Elizu Zaleski went to a draw, but that's because he got tired. If he doesn't get tired, he looks really good. Minus 290 for the moderate favorite, plus 235 for the guy from Denmark. 39 years old for Nicolas Dalby, but he's pretty old, but his record speaks for itself. Moscow Russia, 32 years old, 170, welterweight division, 6'0 to 5'11, 74-inch reach to 74-inch reach, exactly identical in height, identical in reach. I'm going to be going Rinat to win this and get to 23 wins because I think that not only is he better than Nicolas Dalby first and second round, but Nicolas Dalby, sometimes he's really good. He's really, really good, but sometimes he tends to lose the first round. Obviously, you know, it's how he fights and it's his style matchup, but he tends to always lose the first round every time Nicolas Dalby fights. And I know he did very good against Gabriel Bonfim, but when we look at Gabriel Bonfim got tired, and that's a guy like Nicolas Dalby. He waits for you to get tired and then he punishes you in the third round. So we can definitely see something like that with Rinat, but I think Rinat has learned from his lesson from Zaleski when it went to a draw. I think Rinat has learned from that, and I think he will be able to not only maintain his gas tank, but easily take down Nicolas Dalby. I know Nicolas Dalby has great takedown defense, but I think the age has to play a factor at one point, at some point, unless he's on PEDs. But guys, give me Rinat Fakhretdinov to win this fight by unanimous decision. Hard fought 15 minutes, and I think he loses the third round. It's the same thing with the last fight that got canceled, Lutterbach versus Joshua Van. It's like I thought Joshua Van was gonna win the third round, definitely, but I know that Lutterbach can win the first and second. So I'm going Rinat Fakhretdinov to win this by unanimous decision, but winning the first 2 rounds and then losing the third round because Nicolas Dalby tends to heat up. But when he heats up, sometimes it's a little too late. So give me Rinat Fakhretdinov to win this by unanimous decision, 29-28, 30-27, 29-28. Let's get it, guys. Russia is going to be in for a treat this card, guys. A bunch of Russians on this card. Next fight, we got Nasrat Haqparast versus Jared Gordon. Jared Gordon, who almost beat Paddy Pimblett, guys. He lost to Grant Dawson, beat Leonardo Santos. Paddy Pimblett, he lost. Unanimous decision. Bobby Green, accidental clash of heads. He technically got KO'd in that fight, bro. Bad. It was an accidental clash of heads, and then he got finished by Bobby Green because he kept on attacking him, and it was turned to a no contest. Every time you see something like that, you gotta be careful, bro. I'm drinking my lemonade. Every time you see something like that, I don't care if it was accidental, if it turned to a no contest, he still got knocked out and his chin got cracked. So when we look at this, his last win was to Mark Madsen, who is no longer in the UFC. That guy retired. That guy sucks. Nasrat Haqparast has been in the UFC. UFC veteran, fought Dan Hooker 2 years and 8 months ago. Fought Bobby Green. Went to decision, but got teed up by the jab. Put away. Bobby Green's right hand. His head in the pocket. His head movement was too fast. He was too fast. John Makdessi, he beat London Kunoes, and then he beat Jamie Malarkey. I think all of these guys are better than anybody that Jared Gordon has beat. Like, when Jared Gordon wins a fight, it's by decision and it's by unanimous. Jared Gordon has no power. And who am I to say? Because I don't punch that hard either. But what I'm saying is that when we break down the odds, minus 225 for Nasrat Haqparast, I think he should be a minus 300. Bro, who am I to say? But I think Nasrat Haqparast should be a minus 300 because not only has he faced way tougher competition, but he had a great performance against Bobby Green. You can say that he got absolutely put out and went 30-27, lost 30-27 to Bobby Green. But Bobby Green didn't find him. And that's the thing with Jared Gordon. He tends to leave his chin susceptible to get caught. Not only did he lose the first and second round, or maybe he won the second round against Paddy Pimblett, but arguably he could have won the third. It's very questionable because with a guy like Jared Gordon, he's on the decline. He's not that good. He's a plus 185 dog. He's from Queens, New York, so I should be talking about him better. He's tough. He has grit. He has that strength. He has that power. He can go full 15 minutes. But I think that grit and that toughness is his own demise. Because when we look at a guy like Nasrat Haqparast, bro, he can KO you. He is most likely going to win this fight by decision and unanimous, but he's young, 28 years old, 5'10", 72-inch reach, compared to his opponent, 35 years old, 5'9", 68-inch reach. I think those 4 inches are going to be a massive difference because not only is Nasrat good with his boxing, he stood up with Bobby Green, went 15 minutes, full 15 minutes, got cut up a little bit, practice there, but his jab is so good, and I think that is going to be the determining factor with this Jared Gordon fight because Jared Gordon tends to not be as fast. He's not as fast. He doesn't throw he doesn't throw as much leg kicks. He doesn't have in his punches, and I think a guy like Nasrat Haqparast is going to be hungrier, and he's lost to a guy like he's had his losses already. It's time for him to win now. Give me Nasrat Haqparast to win this by unanimous decision, 30-27, 29-28, 29-28. Majority of Tapology is going Nasrat Haqparast. 83% of them are going by decision. If you want the over 2.5, take it. I think you should definitely take that fight. Take the over 2.5 in that. I'm taking this fight definitely goes the distance. That's what I'm going to be taking. Shara Magomedov versus Joilton Lutterbach. Shara Magomedov was recently matched with Ihor Pottiera, but now he's matched with this guy. When we look at this, his opponent has a record of 38-10-0, Joilton. His one loss out of his last 5 is to Clay Collard by split in PFL. So PFL fucking sucks. So when we look at Shara Magomedov, the Bullet, 12-0. I don't want to sound like a casual, but all of his, other than he's beat Bruno Silva by decision. Okay, so he has 2 fights that have 1 decision, but his UFC debut he won, and this will be his 2nd fight in the UFC. Shara Magomedov is a guy who a lot of people think is a prospect. He can't see from his right eye. So he's kind of like Bisping, but Bisping can't see from his left eye. So, they're kind of alike, but I think that this guy's a little bit better, and I think that this guy will be a prospect in the division. He's 30 years old to 31. His opponent, 186. His opponent last weighed 165. Bro, this fight's going to be at middleweight. His opponent cut down to that weight. He's 6'0", 6'2", 73 inch reach to 74. Shara Magomedov is going to be the bigger fighter. He's not only going to be bigger, he's going to be heavier, and he's going to be faster. And a guy like Shara, Bullet's fancy. He's fancy with his striking. He's very good. And I think he's going to capitalize on the sloppy striking of Joilton Lutterbach. Joilton Lutterbach is a guy who is fed to a guy like Shara Magomedov in order for Shara Magomedov to look good. So I think Shara Magomedov is going to shine bright. And he's going to shine like a diamond. And I think he's going to beat this fight. And I think he's going to win by KO in the 3rd round. I'm going 3rd round KO because sometimes against Bruno Silva, he tends to catch him here and there. But then his output wasn't as good. Keep on throwing. He couldn't get the finish. So I wouldn't be surprised if he wins by unanimous decision. But I think it's going to be a late KO. 3rd round KO for Shara Magomedov, the Bullet. Let's get it, guys. That's going to be a great fight, guys. Great fight. Opening up the main card. This is a little bit of a smaller card. Only 11 fights as of now. Johnny Walker versus Volkan Oezdemir. Volkan Oezdemir with a record of 19-7-0. Johnny Walker with a record of 21-8-0. He is the -120 and then +100 for Volkan Oezdemir. But if you look at it right now, the odds are dead even. A lot of people have Volkan Oezdemir. Guys, when I look at this, it's Brazil versus Switzerland, 32 years old to 35. Light heavyweight division, 6'6 to 6'2, 82 to 75. Guys, let's take out the factor of Johnny Walker's chin. Take out that factor and put these guys in a cage. I know you can't do that, hypothetically. But let's take out the factor of Johnny Walker's chin. We take it out. He beats the fuck out of Volkan Oezdemir, bro. Volkan Oezdemir fucking sucks, bro. Bro, Gafurov KO, Magomed Ankalaev decision, and then Nikita Krylov. Obviously, his losses are to very, very good people. But, bro, when he wins, bro, this guy's never going to hold a belt, bro. I want a guy like Johnny Walker to come in there, go crazy, and knock this guy Volkan Oezdemir out. I hate people who fight like Volkan Oezdemir, bro. They're so boring, and they're so trash. It's so boring seeing a guy like this fight. The odds are dead even now. So you know a lot of people are thinking that Volkan Oezdemir can wrestle Johnny Walker and win this by unanimous decision. A boring unanimous decision. When we look at a guy like Johnny Walker, bro, all of his wins, almost all of them except for Anthony Smith, has come by KO. His recent loss was to Magomed Ankalaev by KO. And you can argue Volkan Oezdemir did better against Magomed Ankalaev. You can argue that. But, and this is a big but, pause. He's 34 years old. I don't think he's in the prime of his career. And I don't think he's good enough. I just don't. I know a lot of people are going to be picking him, Volkan Oezdemir. I don't see it, bro. And, maybe he wrestle fucks him to a decision. But I don't see him knocking Johnny Walker out. And I don't see him submitting Johnny Walker. I'm going Johnny Walker to win this fight by KO. And I think he makes it look good and he does the style points. I think too many people are on, oh, Johnny Walker doesn't have a chin. Oh, Johnny Walker's questionable. But every time Johnny Walker loses, bro, it's bad. It's very bad. Like, bro, Johnny Walker's KOs are bad. So he could get KO'd completely bad and flatline. But I think a guy like Johnny Walker is better technically. And his leg kicks and his reach and his length. He has to use it. He used it against Anthony Smith. He looked phenomenal against Anthony Smith. Blasting the leg. 1-2, blasting the leg. And I think a guy like Volkan Oezdemir has never had a performance like Johnny Walker, where it's exciting and you want to see more, where you're like, holy shit, this is why I'm a UFC fan. When we see Volkan Oezdemir, it's like, bro, I don't even want to watch UFC no more, bro. That guy sucks. Give me Johnny Walker to win this fight by second round KO. And if I'm wrong, come back and comment this video. Let's get it. Next fight, guys. Give me the minus 120. I know the odds are dead even right now, but Tapology's with me, guys. Johnny Walker by KO. For God's sake. For God's sake, knock this motherfucker out. He's boring. Next fight, Magomed Naimov versus Felipe Lima. Felipe Lima with a record of 12-1-0. Finish decision. He's making his UFC debut. Making his UFC debut against Magomed Naimov. Great. So, this guy, the odds are not out yet. But let me just look at it on my phone. Really, really quick. If I didn't go over the odds for a fight that was passed, it's because the odds weren't there and the fight, I just forgot to go over it. But I'm going over these odds right now. Let me just see it. Do they even have the Lima? I don't even see it, bro. Magomed Naimov. I don't even see this fight, bro. Like, it's so hard to find odds for this. But, guys, I know Magomed Naimov is the favorite by a lot, bro. I know he's the favorite by a lot. And when it comes to fights like this, bro, they're going to give a guy who's making his UFC debut a dog. They're going to give him a wolf. A wolf. Feed him right to the wolves. Always making his UFC debut. Oh, it's in Saudi Arabia. Feed him right to the wolves. So, let me just make sure. Let me make sure you can't see these odds. Yeah. Bro, I don't see him. Yep, I don't see him. Alright. We're going to keep on breaking it down. 29 years old to 26. 11-2-0 for Magomed Naimov. Magomed Naimov has very good wins. He's ranked 29 in his division, featherweight division. His opponent is a former bantamweight. That's what I really wanted to touch on. 5'6 to 5'9", 70-inch reach. His opponent's reach is not here, but I know he has a smaller reach. He's smaller overall, and I know size doesn't ultimately determine the factor of everything. But when it comes to Felipe Lima, if he can make bantamweight, he doesn't deserve to be in featherweight. And you can maybe say that against Aljo. Aljo, how was he in bantamweight making it, and now he's a featherweight? But I think a guy like Felipe Lima is very small for his division in featherweight, and he's very young. And I think he takes his second loss in his whole career. I think it'll be his first loss in the UFC, and I think he loses his UFC debut against Magomed Naimov. Not only because he's a smaller fighter, but because I think Magomed Naimov can just grapple him, wrestle him to decision, and then maybe submit him if he's strong enough. I want to see what majority of Tapology is. It's not even here. I don't know if this fight's happening, guys. But I'm going Magomed Naimov to win this by unanimous decision, 29-28, 30-27, and 30-27. Up the card, Kelvin Gastelum versus Daniel Rodriguez. Kelvin Gastelum is a beast who has fought time and time again the absolute killers. Lost to guys like Darren Till, lost to guys like Robert Whittaker, lost to guys like Jared Cannonier and Shane Brady by Kimura. Shit fucking performance against Shane Brady, bro. Many people were on him against Shane Brady, but bro, holy shoot, bro. That was such a shit performance. His takedown defense was like a baby calf. Daniel D-Rod will not be shooting any takedowns. We'll see about that, though. He's not a wrestler from what I know. He's a boxer. You know what I'm saying? He's a dirty boxer with a record of 17-4-0. Kelvin Gastelum with a record of 18-9-0. Minus 240 for Kelvin Gastelum, the favorite. Plus 190 for the underdog, Daniel Rodriguez. Arizona versus Las Vegas, Nevada. 32 years old to 37. Welterweight division, 5'9" to 6'1", and 71 to 74. Bro, I thought Kelvin Gastelum was going to be strong coming down to welterweight. I thought he was going to be stronger than Shane Brady. A guy like Shane Brady lost to Bilal Muhammad, bro, by KO. His only KO in the UFC career. Like, what the fuck? So, Shane Brady just submitted Kelvin Gastelum like crazy. It's pretty cool. Shane Brady's he's going to be a contender, man. He's going to be a problem. But I thought that, for some reason, I thought Kelvin Gastelum was going to be stronger than Shane Brady, but he wasn't. So, it's questionable, and we have to look at his age. He's 32, but is he at the pinnacle of his career? We'll see. Daniel Rodriguez is definitely not nowhere near his pinnacle of his career. His last two losses, Neil Magny. Who the fuck loses to Neil Magny, bro? By submission? Who loses to Neil Magny except for Mike Malott, the fraud? And then Ian Machado Gary makes absolute sense. Makes sense, bro. By KO, that's fine. He's been out for a year and 1 month, but Kelvin Gastelum has been pretty active, bro. He's been way more active, and a lot of people are picking this fight to go decision. I'm picking the over 2.5, and I'm going with Kelvin Gastelum to win this by unanimous decision. I think he's gonna bounce. He's gonna bounce around D-Rod, and this is gonna be a great striking fight. It's not gonna be like Volkan Oezdemir hugging Johnny Walker's nuts and trying to get a takedown and boring ass win. Cut him from the UFC. Cut Volkan Oezdemir from the UFC. Daniel Rodriguez is gonna be a problem. He's gonna be having good boxing. You know, he has a slick uppercut, but I think Kelvin Gastelum, when it comes to dirty boxing, and he has a very good win over Ian Heinisch, who is questionable win, but I think Kelvin Gastelum has a way better record, has fought time and time again, way better people, and has beaten way better people than Daniel Rodriguez, and has hit almost the pinnacle of this sport. He's faced guys like Israel Adesanya, and I know he went to decision and lost, but and people can say, maybe Kelvin Gastelum is done, his chin is not good, but this guy's a refrigerator, bro, a Mexican refrigerator. You think I'm going to go against that? Bro, give me Kelvin Gastelum minus 240. I'm going to put this guy on my parlays, bro. I'm going to put this guy on my parlays. Give me Kelvin Gastelum to beat the shit out of Daniel Rodriguez and win this fight. The only thing about Daniel Rodriguez was he was shooting. He was taking people down. He was, I forgot this. He sometimes shoots for a takedown, so he probably can get one against Kelvin Gastelum. But I expect Kelvin Gastelum to get right back up, and throw them hands, and capitalize on Daniel Rodriguez getting tired and his lack of output. Daniel Rodriguez is a slow fighter, and he's not a guy who you have to worry about speed. Definitely. You don't have to worry about speed when it comes to Daniel Rodriguez. So give me Kelvin Gastelum to win that by unanimous decision. Hard fought 15 minutes, 29-28, 29-28, 30-27. Let's get it. Co-main event of the evening, Sergey Pavlovich versus Alexander Volkov. Drago versus Russia, or wherever the fuck this motherfucker is from. Russia versus Russia. Guys, Sergey Pavlovich, I bet money against Tom Aspinall. Yes, I know I'm an idiot. He got knocked the fuck out. But he put Tom Aspinall on skates. He put him on skates. He had him a little wobbled. But Tom Aspinall's too fast. And he knocked him the fuck out. Not a bad loss. Not a bad loss at all. You stepped in on short notice. 285. Come on, man. You put up a good fight, man. It was a good fight for the interim title. You'll be back, bro. You'll be back. Volkov, on the other hand, 37-10-0. On a 3-fight win streak, those wins coming from Jairzinho Rozenstruik, Alexander Romanov, and Tai Tuivasa, Ezekiel Choke. And prior to that, Sergey Pavlovich beat Curtis Blades. He beat Tai Tuivasa, Derek Lewis, and Shamil Abu Damurov. And he finished all of his wins. All of his wins, he finished them. Minus 224, Sergey Pavlovich, plus 175 for Alexander Volkov. 32 years old to 35, 259, his highest weight, 263. They both have the cap at the 265 limit, 6'3 to 6'7, 84 inch reach to 80. I would think Alexander Volkov would have a bigger reach because of his ape index, but he doesn't. This guy is 6'7 and has a reach of 80, like 80. Not that it always matters, but I'm saying like a guy like Sergey Pavlovich shouldn't have the longer reach, but he does. He has very long arms, 84-inch reach, and I think Sergey Pavlovich is going to knock out Volkov. Let's get some KOs on this card. I think he's going to knock Volkov out completely and finish him. Whether it's the second or third round, I just think Volkov is more of a technician, and he needs time to work. When you give him time to work and you give him time and you give him space, that's when he does good. A guy like Cyril Gane was able to capitalize on Volkov and put up a great performance, 5-round performance. And Cyril Gane doesn't hit that hard. He just kept on making Volkov think of what's going next. If you can keep on making Volkov think and keep on kicking his leg, you can definitely put him on skates, but he's coming into his own. Don't look at the 10 losses and think, oh, this guy's a clown, let me just go with the other guy. That's something that you don't want to do. I think Sergey Pavlovich is better at finding the shot. I think he's better at finding the shot. I don't think he's more of a technician than Alexander Volkov. And, we have the submission. He just, they both lost to Tom Aspinall, but they lost in very, very different ways. This guy lost they both lost in round 1, but this guy lost in a straight arm lock, and this guy lost by KO to Tom Aspinall. So it's crazy when we look at that. I'm going to be going Sergey Pavlovich by second or third round KO just because I think he finds the mark. And if Alexander Volkov doesn't have power to keep Sergey off of him, Sergey's not going to get off of him. No matter how many strikes you throw at Sergey, he will not get off of you, bro. He will keep pushing, pushing, and pushing. And if a guy like Derek Lewis, Tai Tuivasa, and Curtis Blades can't wobble him, sure as hell Alexander Volkov is not going to wobble him. Give me Sergey Pavlovich to win this fight. Second or third round KO. Let's get it. Majority of Tapology has Pavlovich by KO. Somebody's going to get knocked out this fight. If you want this fight doesn't go the distance, that's a great anchor, great parlay piece. Time for the main event, boys. Robert Whittaker versus Ikram Aliskerov. Robert the Reaper Whittaker was matched up against Khamzat Chimaev. Bro, Khamzat the pull-out king. No, I'm just kidding. Hopefully Khamzat feels better. I hope Khamzat doesn't retire. I hope he comes back. I love watching Khamzat fight, man. But I think this fight is better. I think this fight is a way better matchup, and I think this fight, you can argue, Khamzat, would have maybe, you can argue maybe Khamzat would have been a better fight. But I think that this fight is way better stylistically, and I think this fight is going to be a barn burn. It's going to be fun. I'm still excited, Khamzat, I hope you feel better, bro, and I hope you come back, bro. I love you, bro. That guy is awesome to watch. I love guys like Khamzat, and I hate guys like Volkan Oezdemir. But we got Robert Whittaker versus Ikram Aliskerov. 25-7-0 for Robert Whittaker. 15-1-0 for Ikram Aliskerov. Minus 145 for Robert the Reaper Whittaker, former champion. Lost to Israel Adesanya by decision. I thought that he won that fight. Gave him the round 2 and gave him 4 and 5. I thought he definitely won rounds 4 and 5 against Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya is now matched up against Dricus du Plessis. It's crazy when we look at that because does Izzy really deserve a title shot off of what? He doesn't even have a win. He got his ass whooped 49-46 to Strickland. And since he used to be a champ, let's give him a title shot. Even though he's not coming off of any wins. But it's gonna be a fun fight. And it's in my birthday month, so that's gonna be fun. So I'm not complaining. Ikram Aliskerov plus 120 for the dog. His last 5 have been all finishes, bro. His last 6 have been all finishes. He came from Dana White Contender Series, Mario Sosa, Kimura, Phil Hawes KO, and Walray Alves KO. 33 years old to 31, 185 to 186, 6-0 to 73, 6-0 to 6-0, 73 entries to 76. Guys, I just want to say something before this fight. Robert Whittaker has fought time and time again. The killers of this division, bro. The absolute killers of this division. Whittaker has fought time and time again, bro. I'm talking, this guy has been fighting the contenders more than Israel Adesanya has been fighting the contenders. And I know Izzy, defended against Yoel. He defended against Paulo Costa. He defended against Jared Cannonier. And he defended against he got his belt back against Alex Politon. He got the rematch. He won. And Izzy's been, getting the belt. But when it comes to a guy who's been fighting the contenders, the guys who've been coming up, all the guys, except every single fight, has been training in a hell zone for Khamzat Chimaev this whole fight. And then the next week, oh, Khamzat's out. You got to fight somebody else, bro. All right, give me anybody. Usman gets offered the fight. Nah, bro, I can't take it. Nah, I can't take it right now. I can't take it. Strickland gets offered the fight. Nah, bro, I can't take it. Against Whittaker. Strickland should have took the fight. Usman, I get it, bro. You're a welterweight. Strickland, bro, you just came. You didn't even get hurt. I know you want a training camp, but, bro, this is an opportunity. But they got a Saudi Arabian guy, Dagestani, bias. No, I'm just kidding. It's in Saudi Arabia, so, you might have to get a Saudi. But anybody, Strickland and Usman were offered this fight, and they both said no. So it's about time a guy like Ikram Aliskerov says yes. And it's really, really, really good that we get a guy who's like Ikram and a guy like Whittaker who just signed the contract and they're like, let's fucking go. Let's go. Let's do this fight. When we look at this fight, stylistically, the guy who I see shooting the takedown is a guy like Ikram Aliskerov after he hits maybe he loses. I don't know if Ikram Aliskerov has went 5 rounds ever in his career. His only loss in his career is to Khamzat by the first round KO. I thought that fight went 5 rounds, but it didn't. Robert Whittaker has won 5 rounds time and time again, and he's a veteran in UFC and a former champion. Has won 2, 5, 25-minute long 5 rounds against Yoel Romero. Has been put on skates. You can say maybe Yoel Romero took his chin, but one thing that I'm gonna say is, when it comes to a fight like this, you do not want to miss a fight like this. It's gonna be an awesome fight, and I think This is going to be determining on who can stay, if Whittaker's footwork can stay outside of the black line. I want Whittaker to stay in the middle, and I want Whittaker to not only get off of the fence, but act as if the fence is fire. Don't touch the fence. The fence is electricity. It's going to shock you. Don't touch the fence. Let's go. Go, get off the fence, get off the fence. Ikram is not only going to be shooting, he can throw hands as well. Ikram is a guy who you do not want to have sloppy striking with or get tired against. Because if you get tired against Ikram, that 1-2 will put you out. But I think the 1-2 head kick is going to be the determining factor in this fight. Not only is there an opening, but it's very tricky when you think about this fight, because it depends on whether Ikram Aliskerov can get his game plan down and can get Whittaker down, and not only get him down, but he can strike with him in a comfortable range and a comfortable distance. But I don't think anybody's comfortable when they're fighting Whittaker. Whittaker's always working. When I saw Whittaker versus Darren Till, it was one of my favorite fights, and I thought that Whittaker put up one of his best performances against Darren Till. He messed up Darren Till's knee because of the oblique kick. He has a very good oblique kick. Not only that, I think he's way more cleaner technician and a cleaner striker than Ikram Aliskerov. I think a guy like Ikram Aliskerov, Whittaker has never been knocked out in the first round. He's been knocked out in the second round against Israel Adesanya and against DDP, but he's never been knocked out in the first round. And if you're getting knocked out in the first round, I don't care who you are, bro. You got your lights put out in the first round. Who am I to say? It's against Hamza, that's an automatic clear. But, bro, he caught a sneaky uppercut. He didn't see it coming. He got knocked out. All I'm going to say is I think the Reaper is not only a better striker, but he has great takedown defense. His takedown defense is amazing. I loved his performance against Paulo Costa. He got rocked in the first round, was able to win the second, third. Arguably, you could say 30-27. He won all 15 minutes of that fight, other than that spinning wheel kick. A guy like Paulo Costa, you can't judge too much, because that guy, what did he do against Strickland? He did the same thing and just looked at him. So you can't take too much into that win. But one thing's for sure, and one thing's for certain, Whittaker's here to fight, bro. And if he signed that paper and signed that dotted line to fight Hamza Chimaev, he's been training in a hell zone to fight anybody. So if anybody steps up, he just wants to fight. It's about time. He already did his training camp. He did everything. Ikram Aliskerov was meant to fight Antonio Tricoli. And I think this is more of a short notice for Ikram than it is for Whittaker. Whittaker is there. He's ready to fight anybody. Ikram has to deal with... I know he's good, bro. I know he's fucking good. He has to deal with the uncertainty of climbing up. This is one of the biggest jump ups in competition that I've ever seen. I know we had Sean O'Malley climb up against Peter Yan to number one contender, and we've had this, these big jumps happen. But normally when these big jumps happen, Whittaker exposes them. Whittaker has faced time and time competition, bro. He's faced time and time the top contenders. He's lost to some of the top contenders, but prior to that, his second title shot against Izzy, he fought 3 times and beat all of them. And I know, they're not as good as Ikram. And maybe you can argue that some of Whittaker's wins aren't as good as Ikram's wins. But one thing that I'm going to say is styles make fights. And when styles make fights, a guy like Bobby Knuckles is not here to lose, bro. And I think he's hungrier, and I think he's here. And who am I to say who's hungrier, mentality, whatever? I think he's a better striker. Not only do I think he's a better striker, I think he's a better boxer. And his oblique kick can definitely keep this guy at distance. He has great body kicks, great teeps to the body, he has nice elbows. And I think Ikram Aliskerov has a little bit of sloppier striking. His win against Phil Hawes, he slipped against the elbow, and then he caught him with the 1-2. Phil Hawes has a chin of a... you can kiss that guy, Phil Hawes, and he'll go to sleep. But what I'm saying is that I think Whittaker has fought and faced way more adversity than Ikram Aliskerov. I know Ikram Aliskerov has fought Hamza, but he didn't go 5 rounds with Hamza. I know it was scheduled for 3 rounds, but Ikram Aliskerov got put out, and all of his other wins, he's been finishing them. So what if Ikram Aliskerov can't finish Whittaker? He's going to be in for a rude awakening. And if Whittaker can beat Israel Adesanya and win 4 and 5, and arguably win the second round, he definitely won 4 and 5 against Israel Adesanya. Whittaker is a guy who wins the the fourth and fifth. Darren Till won the early rounds against Whittaker, and then he wins the fourth and fifth. Whittaker dominates and shows why he's the king of 5 rounds. I think Whittaker is gonna put Ikram Aliskerov on skates, and I think he can win this by unanimous decision. And I'm going with Bobby Knuckles. I'm going with Bobby Knuckles to win this fight by KO or unanimous decision. I think he's going to put Ikram Aliskerov in an uncomfortable position and keep Ikram Aliskerov on the outside of the black line. I think Ikram Aliskerov is going to want to meet him in the middle, but after the rounds go on, maybe he wins the first and second. And if you don't finish Whittaker, bro, you better be ready, bro. You better be ready to go 5 rounds. Because if you don't finish Whittaker, he's going to go full 25 minutes with you. So I have Whittaker to win this by unanimous decision, 48-47, 49-46, 48-47, guys. I think Whittaker's not only a more phenomenal striker, but he's faced tougher and tougher competition and has went 25 minutes facing tougher and tougher competition. You know, Yoel Romero twice, Darren Till. I know I keep on saying that. Jared Cannonier. You know, just look at his last Marvin Vettori decision, Kelvin Gastelum. This guy is a king of 5 rounds. The king of 5 rounds is Robert Whittaker, and if you don't finish him early within 3 rounds, you better be ready, Ikram, because Whittaker is going to be giving you hell. He has been training like a dog for Khamzat. So, brother, you better be ready, Ikram, because if you're not ready, bro, trust me, you will be knocked out. But I think Whittaker wins this by unanimous decision, 48-47, 49-46, 48-47. And Ikram, not only, I don't think his stock drops after this win. After this loss, if he loses. I don't think his stock drops. I think he is still a contender in the middleweight division and can still climb the middleweight division. I just think Robert Whittaker is a gatekeeper, the king of gatekeepers, the best gatekeeper that I've ever seen, and just wipes the floor with these guys, bro. And if there's a guy who I thought was going to beat Khamzat, it's a guy like Robert Whittaker who accepts the fight against Khamzat. Give me Robert Whittaker to win this, 49-46, 48-47, 48-47. Guys, drop a like on the video, comment your favorite dog, and comment your most anticipated fight. I know I went for a long-ass time. And I talked a lot of shit. But follow my Twitter at Uselyis, and drop a like on the video, comment your most anticipated fight, and let me know if there's any new fights that have been added to this card. I love you guys with my whole heart, guys. And thank you for all the love. Let's fucking get it. Drop a like, drop a W. Let's get it. Hey, Ikram is the best dog on this card, though. Ikram is the best dog in this entire card. So, this fight, I'm going to be going the over 2.5 for this fight. So, I hope you guys enjoy, guys. Enjoy the fights. Let's get it. UFC Saudi. Let's get it. Peace.